So, hallo ihr wundervollen Menschen. Willkommen auf meinem Kanal. Ich bin Desiree und auf diesem Kanal dreht sich alles um die Musik, den Deep Dive in die Lyrics, Melodien, Visuals und alles, was sonst noch dazu gehört. Und wir versuchen uns alles aus psychologischer und aus philosophischer Sicht anzugucken, denn ich bin aus dem psychologischen Bereich. Ich bin Traumatherapeutin und Heilpraktikerin für Psychotherapie und arbeite aber auch im Bewusstseinscoaching. Und heute haben wir Ren, der eine Dokumentation droppt zum Asylum-Album, also das Projekt Inpatient, was er mit Ren Webby zusammen gestartet hat. Das heißt, es geht jetzt los. Ich bin schon ein bisschen spät dran. Ich bin heute ein bisschen angeschlagen. Vielleicht hört ihr das in meiner Stimme. Ich lutsche nebenbei auch Hustenbonbon. Irgendwie ist über Nacht mein Hals ein bisschen zugegangen, aber ich wollte es mir trotzdem nicht nehmen lassen, das heute zu machen. Von daher hoffe ich, dass meine Stimme durchhält. Und mein Kopf auch ein bisschen mit dabei ist. Aber jetzt lasst uns starten. Ich habe den Anfang der Premiere ein bisschen verpasst. Der Chat ist schon hier am ordentlich Herzen geben. Also, let's go. Ich bin sehr gespannt. Oh, Baby ist auch da.
I think inspiration can be found anywhere.
It's moving.
Yeah. Starting to look like Pac-Man a little bit. This was unlike anything I've ever experienced. We were just receiving something. We are here at the baggage video shoot. Full of clips going on.
Yeah, divine timing, man.
Divine timing.
Baggage ist ja schon ein bisschen her.
No one could have predicted it was going to be this special, that the chemistry between all of us would have been so strong, that we would have just kept writing. Usually you tap out at a point and you start hitting a wall. You just didn't hit that wall.
Me and my monster.
So my name is Ren Webby. I am a hip-hop artist of many years. You know, I'm a lot of things. Autistic, they say. Fun, clever, witty. Charming, charismatic.
Das ist der Hund aus Madhouse.
Yeah, that's me. You could just call me Webb.
Ich mache einfach zwischendurch Pause. Also, ich weiß gar nicht, irgendjemand sagte, dass Webby auch ADHS hat, aber es gab ja auch in den Songs immer wieder Hints, dass Webby Autistik ist. Und ich finde es ganz spannend, wie er das sagt. Er sagt nicht, ich bin autistisch, sondern er sagt, man sagte mir oder sie sagen, ich sei autistisch. Und das finde ich sehr, sehr schön, weil es zeigt, es ist erstmal eine Diagnose, Menschen sagen ihm das. Und es macht aber so einen kleinen Unterschied, finde ich, weil es bleibt offen, wie sehr er sich damit identifiziert, dass er diese Diagnose bekommen hat. Das Problem ist ja oft, dass wenn wir so Diagnosen bekommen, sie schnell zu unserer eigenen Persönlichkeit werden und wir dann dadurch wiederum unser eigenes Sein, unsere eigenen Möglichkeiten manchmal ein bisschen eher einengen, weil wir sagen, naja, das kann ich eh nicht oder das brauche ich gar nicht erst ausprobieren, weil ich bin ja eh autistisch oder ADHS. Menschen mit solchen Sachen können das nicht. Ich brauche es gar nicht erst versuchen. So, und die nehmen das irgendwann als Entschuldigung, bestimmte Dinge nicht zu machen. Oder nicht über ihre Grenzen zu gehen oder was auch immer. So. Und dann wird es schwierig. Und deswegen finde ich das so schön zu sagen, das ist die Diagnose, die mir gegeben wurde. Menschen sagen viel über mich. Aber das sind so die die Sachen, die man so über mich sagt, wer ich bin. Das finde ich spannend. So, weiter.
About 2 years ago, Chris had just released his Raw Thoughts 6 video, and I was rewatching it one day and looked at the comments, and I was like, wait a second.
My girlfriend was like, "Did you see who commented on your post?" And I was like, no, I didn't. And she said, "Ren," and I said, "I don't know who that is."
Money Game 3.
Hi. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Ren. Some people might call me a musician. I write songs about teenagers being stabbed in alleyways. I argue with myself on camera a lot. I'm here, as you can see, in Connecticut, USA. It feels good to finally be on American soil, because I never really get the chance to leave Brighton. It feels like I'm always in Brighton. I'm always in my studio in Brighton.
Das liebe ich. Dieses richtig schön obvious, schlecht reingeschnittene mit diesen Ausblenden zwischendurch. Ist geil. Na, ich liebe den Humor.
And I never leave, but now I'm finally in Connecticut with the guys. It feels great. It feels great to be here. Thanks for having me, America. I'm making this video a year after we were in Connecticut because everyone else was slacking, man. I was in the studio working really, really hard.
I've been a fan of his for a really long time. So I was like, Chris, he likes your shit. You should do something with him. Like, that's super fire.
I had recently recorded a song called Baggage. We just had made that right when I reached back out to him. I was like, "Oh, you're dope, yada, yada," started DMing. And I was like, "Yo, I actually just did this song. Let me shoot it over to you and see what you think."
So then Ren came over to make the Baggage video, and he stayed with us.
Yeah, man. Good to see you, man. Absolutely.
Good to see you.
What's up, man?
How we doing, Josh?
Yep.
And what's your name?
Kai.
Kai, yeah,
Lovely to
yes.
meet
What's
you,
up,
brother.
man?
Lovely to
Absolutely.
meet
You guys too.
Hey,
And that's Moose.
Hey, Moose.
Right off the bat, Chris and him just had this, like, vibe.
Because we were talking about how we love Sublime, Bob Marley.
Classic rock from, 60s, early 70s.
Got into like a huge talk about all of the like our big influences with music, like well beyond hip hop.
We're just kind of hanging. He's got the guitar, and, one thing leads to another, and all of a sudden we're writing what ended up being 3 songs on this album.
Ich liebe das. Ist das bei Webby zu Hause, dieses Arcade-Ding mit Pac-Man und allem? Diese ganzen alten Gaming-Stations. Also in Deutschland gibt es das auch. Ich glaube, es ist nicht so ein ganz so großes Ding wie in Amerika, aber hier kennen wir das auch.
I like that. I feel like something this vibe with us would go very hard.
Yeah, something sort of reggae or
Yeah.
skunky pop vibe, yeah.
Like fun, where you could like kind of weave in the pocket on the verses too.
I wonder if you could start with like do 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 do
Yeah, yo, that's like that should be the B section of the chorus, bro.
Separate my soul when we're loving, no let go. Where you ought to go. Don't wait for the wind. Separate myself.
Wie cool ist das denn, ey? Da hast du echt so einen coolen Raum, wo alle einfach nur chillen und spielen, Billard spielen oder da irgendwie zocken. Und dann sitzt Ren da, spielt auf seiner Gitarre und probiert ein bisschen was aus. Und dann kommt Webby und sagt, oh, finde ich geil. Und dann entsteht da so ein Song. Ist geil.
What's that line? Because that's everything.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
That'll be like a hook line, innit?
Yeah.
Steezy
as fuck,
you
too.
got 5 lines, 5 syllables. You get
Unless you hang
incarceration.
a 4. It could na 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 or na 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 na.
Oh yeah, because you go. Yeah, you're right. It could be 4. Driving through the county line, I come for humankind. Daylight knocking at my door. It's time to.
You got him.
And if I must, I'll kill you. Oh,
What the fuck?
instigator. Dum, dum, dum,
That I like. Yes. Instigator is fucking fire.
Instigator.
Yep.
And these kind of
That's our
repeat.
tagline. I think we could definitely change what
Yeah,
leads
you
into
could.
it.
Yeah,
but
somebody-
instigator is fucking. That's it. That's
Instigator.
fucking
And
money.
it's very reggae. Instigator
Yes,
is the
yes.
line as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
We kind of both looked at each other and were like, yo, we should just do a whole project. And at the time, it seemed kind of like there's no way to have predicted where this would have gone. But the chemistry was there, and that was clear as day.
The thunder gonna come.
Yeah, that's fucking dope. It was like the type of chemistry you don't see every day. I've worked with a lot of people, and I don't know.
They're smoking.
It was something special, and I think we could both tell that. And we were like, yeah, we'll get back to this.
Mit dem Himmel. Ich habe erst gedacht, das ist Eis.
Did the IVIG people get back to you, by the way?
No, I'm going to give him a call when you're in the thingy. Because no one's come back to me yet.
2 grams.
Yeah, but I'd only be looking, because I'm only here for a couple of weeks, I'd only be looking for a maximum of 20 grams, I think.
Oh, only 20 grams.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Look at him.
Gott, ist der süß.
Sup, brother? You good?
Let's get you guys settled in. And I haven't thought a ton about it yet.
No, same here. We don't need to. No need.
Yeah, I want to come in pure.
Let the magic happen when it happens.
Yeah.
No, same here, man.
Welcome
Wow.
back. Some additions for sure.
Okay.
Hashtag calendar.
Yep.
Just got it all cleaned up again.
Oh, it's good to be here, man.
What's up, my dude? Great to meet you.
Connor.
JP,
Of
brother.
course.
Hell yeah.
That's the
man.
first.
Oh shit.
We never had the drum set set up.
Ist das ein Alien gewesen?
You're getting live drums on shit.
Yes, sir.
Why not? Yes, yeah.
Come on.
JP's a fucking monster, man. He's a monster. He is such a
Mason Jar.
brilliant producer. I can't even begin to fully explain it. His brain works in a way that I'll never understand, and I've been working with him since he was 15 years old.
Hey, JP.
What's poppin', yo? I'm JP on the track and producing the album with Ren and Webby. We got a movie. Every track's a movie. This shit's crazy. Oh fuck, I think I'm a little high now.
JP's an alien, dude. Like, so intuitive. Such a good, one of the best producers I've ever worked with, man. I don't say that lightly. He's such a talented dude. He's also like incredibly talented at smoking weed, man. Like, I've never seen anybody consistently rip so many bongs in one sitting and still somehow be functional.
Does the bong help?
Does the bong help? It's a crazy question. It's just interesting because I've seen people in the studio, they'll take one rip of weed and be out of the game, and I'll just be, you know, if anything, working harder. I don't really know what's going on. All I know is I'm just, you know, about to take another bong rip right now.
Okay.
Yeah,
Fuck yeah.
we're here. we started by going through some of the beats that I had set aside.
What was that beat called, the other one? You were writing to it, you said on the road.
Yeah, I had a neurodivergent vibe, like a song called Neurodivergent over that. What the fuck is that beat called?
Neurodivergent started in my studio. I was listening to like some Russian Soviet era music, and like some of their riffs are kind of in that world, just like with that bass line, that moving bass line.
Fun.
So I knew that when we played that one for Ren, he was gonna flip. And he did.
Ich bin auch so ein bisschen an diesem am Kiffen auch hängen geblieben. Ich kenne einige Menschen, gerade auch Menschen, die neurodivergent sind, die viel kiffen, aber auch Menschen, die zum Beispiel mit komplexer Traumatisierung zu tun haben. Ne? Also komplexe PTBS zum Beispiel. Die irgendwo mit einem Nervensystem zu tun haben, was hochaktiv ist, hochaktiviert ist. Und was zwischendurch immer wieder wie so eine Art von Dämpfer braucht oder wie so eine Direction, so eine Richtung, die dem Ganzen gegeben wird, damit all die Eindrücke, die da sind, all die Flüsse, die Gedankenstränge und Flüsse, die da sind, genutzt werden können, damit sie sortiert werden können. Aber eben auch, um überhaupt wieder zur Ruhe zu kommen, damit man nicht die ganze Zeit hier oben irgendwie rumschwingt und so völlig drüber ist und völlig überfordert ist, sondern mal wieder auf ein Level kommt, wo normale Menschen in Anführungsstrichen unterwegs sind. Und manche brauchen das zum Schlafen, um überhaupt schlafen zu können. Manche nutzen das für kreative Prozesse. Da kann es aber auch sein bei diesen kreativen Prozessen, dass es eher dahin geht, dass es eine Tür öffnet, die vorher versperrt war, zu Kreativität. Weil man vorher so aktiv war oder so fest und so eng in seinem Stressalltag zum Beispiel, dass man überhaupt gar nicht an dieses Level kam, wo man zu seiner Kreativität Zugang bekommen hat. Von daher, was auch immer es bei JP ist, oder auch bei Ren und bei Webby. So, bei Webby und bei Ren könnte man sagen, dass es da wieder beim Neurodivergenzspektrum ist, ne? Dass unglaublich viele kreative Flüsse da sind und das Nervensystem hier oben irgendwie am Start ist. Und dass es hilft, das zu kanalisieren und ein bisschen runter zu reduzieren, damit man besseren Zugriff auf diese Kreativität zum Beispiel bekommt. Ja, irgendwie sowas vielleicht. Bin halt nicht so sehr in diesen Gefilden unterwegs, dass ich mich so richtig gut auskennen würde. Wenn ihr euch da ein bisschen besser drin auskennt, vielleicht könnt ihr mir da was kommentieren.
I had started writing something to it, really just more ideas. Anthem for neurodivergence, from like autism, ADHD, fucking whatever fucking weird shit you got, like get down. Like fuck being normal type shit. You know?
And what's the mumbling about?
So a lot of music making for me is intuition. A lot of the time I'll just kind of like mumble when I create, or just like do the instinctual thing. I think a lot of it comes from instinct, right? What feels good, what comes out straight away, and usually the first idea is the right idea.
This one and that last soli one for sure, man.
Yo.
That's fucking banging. Yeah. Oh, bro, this is gonna be a crazy
Yo,
project.
Catalyst? Play Catalyst. I don't even know what this... I have so many beats.
Yo, we should play him that fucking casket shit too.
It's almost like a spiritual thing, because it's like you're trying to find the thing that exists and take it from the ether and bring it into existence.
Yeah, it's good bass, I like it.
Das könnte dieses Kanalisieren sein, ne? Caskets, baby.
Bro, you're gonna love this one.
tears are now out of breath. But the fabric, oh, so yours, yeah, oh, there's some love for you, babe, for me.
Das ist so cool.
Let it go.
Ich finde das so faszinierend, ne? Es ist so schön, Ren zuzugucken dabei, wie er das macht. Und diese Konzentration, ne? Und dieses Augen dabei schließen. Das machen Menschen zum Beispiel auch gerade, die entweder sehr auditiv unterwegs sind, also sehr auf ihr Gehör fixiert sind, aber auch Menschen, die sehr kinästhetisch unterwegs sind. Die also sehr eher mit dem Körper spüren. Und ich glaube, dass es bei Ren wahrscheinlich beides ist, so, dass er gerade sehr in sich hinein hört und hinein spürt. Deswegen auch dieses sich teilweise selber dabei festhalten und berühren, vielleicht, um nochmal ein anderes Gefühl für den Körper dabei zu kriegen. Das ist jetzt alles nur Vermutung. Ich habe keine, ne, so. Vielleicht sagt Ren selber nochmal was dazu. Aber das finde ich tatsächlich sehr, sehr schön, weil ich bin auch zum Beispiel selber sehr kinästhetisch unterwegs und ich spüre immer sehr stark in meinen Körper hinein. Wie fühlt sich das an? Was spüre ich gerade? Was nehme ich wahr? Gibt es da eine Enge in mir? Gibt es da etwas, was sich fließend anfühlt? Gibt es etwas, wo es irgendwie warm wird oder wo es kribbelt oder wo es sich eher nach Übelkeit anfühlt oder irgendwie sowas? Und wo kann ich das spüren? Ist es mehr im Bauch? Ist es mehr im Kopf? Und so weiter und so fort. Ne? Und darüber bildet sich wiederum eine Emotion oder eine Intuition, eine Bewertung auch auf das Gefühl, das ist richtig, das ist gut oder das passt nicht. Irgendwie sowas. Und dass Ren über dieses Mumbling oder einfach so vor sich hinsingen, Melodien kreieren in sich und sie nach außen bringen zu der Melodie, die schon da ist. Und dann hineinzuspüren oder hineinzuhören, was es mit ihm macht und ob es sich richtig anfühlt. Und dass es dieses Intuition ist, ne? Und dieser kreative Prozess, wie etwas passiert. Und ich glaube, dass es unterschiedliche Künstler gibt mit unterschiedlichen Ansätzen. Ich bin sehr gespannt, ob sie nochmal zeigen, wie das bei Webby quasi passiert. Bis jetzt hat er immer nur gesagt, das mag ich oder ja, ich finde das gut, was du da sagst oder ich habe selber Ideen. Da bin ich nochmal gespannt, ob sie auch diese Seite zeigen. Das ist geil. So schön. Das ist cool.
To be honest, like it'll click when it's definitely there, but it's also got to make sense with. I feel like we need to find a fucking amazing first line, and then the melody it'll help the melody as well.
Yeah.
Because I think it's gonna be like they say, it's gonna be that first line that's fucking like a gut punch.
Yep.
Yeah, man, I'm excited. It's all fucking good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'll see you boys in the morning.
All right.
I'll see you in the
I know
morning.
you hate handshakes.
Sorry,
okay, yeah. I think people are leaving. See you in the morning, brother.
Wie geil ist das Haus eigentlich in dieser Umgebung mit diesem, habt ihr dieses Eichhörnchen oder Schörnchen-Dingens hier vorne gesehen? Kann ich das? Hier bewegt es sich.
I think people are leaving. See you in the morning, brother.
Da.
Yo, Kai, you want another coffee?
Wie cool.
Yeah.
Guten Morgen.
Bad company. I like it.
Bad company.
Yeah. That was a good idea.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Sick.
One day when Ren was out at treatment, I believe, I thought, like, I got the studio to myself right now, like, let me add some fucking value. Me and Kai were talking upstairs, we were looking at all the things that you could get admitted to an insane asylum for.
Really?
Which is just like a crazy list. It's insane what they used to lock people up for, but one of them was Bad Company, and that's a fire song title.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's fine.
So I think I got a hook. The wire's pissing me off. Bad Company, yeah, I'm a threat to myself.
Bad Company was one I made in my studio. I had a nice skeleton and a nice groove, a nice riff, and it was full.
They say I'm bad company. Yeah, I'm a threat to myself. That's the kind of melody that my voice can carry really well, with all this texture and shit that I got. It's got a bluesy kind of vibe. At this point, they know I'm way past hell. I never cared about the doctor's orders. I just play with the hand that I got dealt. So they say I'm bad company. Yeah, I'm a threat to myself. Say, yeah, let's. Can you run it so it just loops? They say I'm bad company. Yeah, I'm a threat to myself. Talking to myself up in the mirror. Could I make it any clearer? At this point, they know I'm way past hell. I never cared about the doctor's orders. I just played with the hand that I got dealt. So they say I'm
Das ist
bad
nicht Ren.
company. Yeah, I'm a threat to myself.
Kai did a bunch
Yeah.
of dope guitar shit all throughout, and you know, Ren did his thing. We all kind of came together and just sauced up the production, added various parts, and the whole vibe's a fucking tidal wave, honestly.
What's happening at the moment with Instigator, you're losing, because your vocals are such a wall of sound, you're losing the bum bum bum, and that's a cool thing.
Yeah.
So we need to find a way, balance-wise, where that cuts through, because otherwise you lose the coolness of it going into your acapella, just because that's such a cool fucking line.
It is.
I just noticed it was getting a bit
Now that you mention it, I realized that it did get swallowed because I wasn't even hearing it as much.
Yeah, yeah.
It may be a little tricky, but
yeah, we'll figure it out.
Can I do one on the side?
So during the recording of a lot of these songs, the first time at least anyway, I was having to go to a clinic nearby, so we'd have to leave and drive to get IVIG, which is kind of like an immuno replacement, if anybody knows. I had like a nurse come over, give me a shot of penicillin right in my butt cheek, which I was doing on a weekly basis, which was fun. I did this to myself once, right, and I swear that I hit like a fucking, I don't know, you know when you like, yeah, it's coming up. All right, let's go.
Ready?
Yeah, let's go. Yeah, that's cool. Pretty crack the click, can't really hear it. Oh, fuck. Digging into it too much. Have we got a string here? I hope so.
Have you fucked a string?
Yeah, it's nuts because I was digging into it.
Web!
What?
So we snapped the guitar string.
Okay.
Have we got any?
We don't have any in here.
I can see my dad has them.
That could be a play.
Okay.
When me and JP wanted to make something live and just, because we had the drum kit set up, and it's like, should we use the drums?
Es ist so schön, auch diesen Alltag zu sehen, ne? So. Also zwei, die machen da im Studio was. Wahrscheinlich irgendwie vielleicht, wobei, es sah nach Tag aus, ne? Vielleicht haben sie die Nacht durchgemacht und Webby ist am Pennen oder so. Und dann reißt halt so eine Gitarrenseite und dann, ja, klopf, klopf. Ja, was? Das ist cool, diesen Alltag zu sehen.
And we kind of had this bass line that was inspired by London Calling by The Clash. It had a bit of the Police about it, had a bit of the Clash to it, you know, that sort of like punk reggae sort of feeling.
When we ever mistook up for being one. But once you look, Mr. Christ at the ferry, your cancel what? Praise to Christ at the lily, your curse so but Master comes at the giddy, go concanted, nice for young tarantula, gang, right to the stereo, gargantuan, goddamn fit for a burial, a cannula from my wrist, sick material, a chronically ill sound for your aerial.
But like
So what is the third line?
a cannula from my wrist.
What is a cannula?
Cannulas are the tubes that go. It's basically what I live with it in my arm for the past 3 years.
Ja, musst du auch nachgucken.
Okay, yeah.
And the wig might break my back.
Yeah.
Losing my composure, and I might cry.
Just kind of like, yeah.
Say that my persona has a tendency to become so undone that my identity is stuck inside this white room I painted black.
Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be fire.
Working with JP was so good. Like the creative synergy there when we I feel like we kind of shared a universal language, and he just really brought out such a good side of me as well.
Hose.
Yeah, it's cool.
I think the song's done. It's like, yo, this is sick, fucking what a banger. And then Ren is like, no, let's go into some like drum and bass shit. And he starts playing some wild shit. And I'm,
Yeah.
I'm American. I think that's, that was like some British instinct right there.
We just pivoted completely right at the end and went into jungle drum and bass. It hasn't broken America as much as it has the UK. And the UK is fucking huge, right? It's one of the staples of dance music in the UK.
Come on, this one.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Fuck.
Geil. Ja, das war ziemlich cool.
Yeah, we back on that loose again, representing that loony bin. Give a fuck if I lose the win when that spider bite go right through the skin. Venom hit when I strike the bang, got a monster locked up inside my brain. Can wrestle with them like fight and bang, but I know that part of me likes the pain.
Alle am Feiern. Das ist auch so cool, ne? Diese Kontraste zu sehen. Also haben wir wieder ein bisschen vom Alltag, ne? Dieses Party und dann ist ein Projekt fertig und alle feiern den Song und wie das entstanden ist. Und am nächsten Tag sitzt man halt erstmal da. Jeder so macht sein Ding, Frühstück, was auch immer, in den Morgen starten, abwaschen. So, und ich glaube gerade auch das, ne, wenn wir jetzt von Autismus auch wieder sprechen, es ist auch immer wichtig, immer wieder diese Rituale zu haben, Dinge, die sich wiederholen, Dinge, die klar sind, dass die passieren und so weiter, neben all dieser Kreativität. Ne, dieses Ordnung schaffen. Man sieht, dass Chris Webbys Haus relativ ordentlich ist. So, das sieht meistens in der ADHS-Wohnung wieder ein bisschen anders aus. Aber dieses macht den normalen Scheiß. Weil das ist das, was dich wieder settelt, was dich ein bisschen groundet, was dir wieder die Basis gibt, damit du dann auch wieder abheben kannst. Aber du musst zwischendurch auf der Basis wieder ankommen.
What? This is insane. Bro, this is like the craziest shit I've ever done seen in my life right now. To have just done some ketamine and you be like, put this on it. This is the craziest reference I've ever seen in my life, but it's hitting.
Give that a bounce.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, fire. I like that one as well.
Er sieht ein bisschen müde aus.
Damn, this could be a world record day for me today.
Me too, bro. The amount of fucking vocals we're doing today.
It's actually crazy.
Crazy.
It's not just like, you know, we're actually like going through shit. And
This I think this 2 weeks is a past fucking world record 2 weeks for me, bro.
Yeah,
the amount of songs we've done
dude.
from scratch.
And there's
Verses
been really no misses at all.
No, like verses written, music parts written, like, because a lot of these songs just came from fucking nowhere as well.
I know.
Was für eine geile Gegend, in der
There was a
lebt.
parasite that got introduced to this pond via a fish from Petco, which normally I know better than.
Ach man.
But it was food. There was a parasite that got introduced to this pond via a fish from Petco, which normally I know better than. But it was kind of a spur-of-the-moment thing. We got a couple little smaller baby kois to throw in here so they could grow up in a nice pond, and they brought skin flukes and protozoans apparently as well, 2 types of parasites. There was a dark period here. I lost a lot of fish.
Wow.
How's it coming?
So right, I'm not loving my vocals today, to be honest, but I'll comp the whole thing so it's there.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm just feeling a fucking bit weird inside, and sometimes that translates to the take. It just sounds a little bit forced and not like.
No, I hear you.
You know, when sometimes it just doesn't have the vibe, and I know on those days if I push through, it just doesn't seem to fucking come to fruition. Yeah. No, I just know days like this from when I'm back home recording. If I'm back home, I normally just be like, yeah, it's not a vocal day, and it's even if my fucking vocal range is there, sometimes it's just like.
Yeah. No, if you don't have it's the sauce. You need to have the sauce.
Man. Yeah.
Kennen wir nicht alle diese Tage? Also vielleicht nicht als Künstler unbedingt oder als Kreative, ne? Aber wir haben alle so Tage, wo wir aufstehen und denken, und der Tag wird auf jeden Fall für den Arsch. So, keine Energie, der Kopf ist irgendwie stuck, man hat vielleicht sogar eine negative Attitude oder irgendwie sowas. Man fühlt sich einfach, so. Und es kann aus verschiedenen Gründen sein. Es kann sein, dass sie einfach die Tage davor so gepowert haben und so viel Outcome hatten, dass der Kopf jetzt so mal zwischendurch sagt oder der ganze Körper sagt, so, jetzt mal Pause. Aber auch außerhalb davon, dass man mal zwischendurch powert, haben wir einfach unterschiedliche Tage. So. Allein schon auch durch unsere Körperchemie. Bei Frauen ganz besonders der Zyklus. Oder auch, dass das Immunsystem tatsächlich mal mehr zu tun hat, so wie jetzt heute bei mir, ne? So mit meinem, ich wache in der Nacht auf und denke mir, so. Und dann funktioniert es plötzlich nicht so. Und es muss ja nicht immer gleich sein, dass wir krank werden, aber es kann sein, dass trotzdem irgendein Virus oder irgendwas am Start war, wo der Körper gegen kämpft und dann vielleicht auch erfolgreich kämpft, aber für den Tag, wo er kämpft, sind wir nicht so ganz da. Wir haben vielleicht nicht so gut geschlafen oder. So, und dann ist einfach so ein Tag, wo man sagt, hey, komm, gönn dir, nichts zu tun. So, weil selbst wenn du versuchst durchzupowern, schaffst du vielleicht was, aber es ist vielleicht nicht das, was du hättest schaffen können an einem anderen Tag. Also von der Kreativität her, von dem, was am Ende als Produkt rauskommt, vom Level sozusagen her, ihr wisst, was ich meine. Es ist vielleicht nicht so das coole Produkt, was es hätte sein können.
I feel you. Sometimes I push through that and ignore that and probably shouldn't.
Und das ist ganz schön, ne? Diese Konversation nochmal hier von den beiden. Ich glaube, alle haben das gemacht. Ren hat das ja auch gemacht, aber er hat dann festgestellt, okay, bringt einfach nichts. Heute ist so ein Tag. Ich mache heute nichts, ich habe daraus gelernt. So, und ja, und dieses, ja, ich kenne das. Habe ich oft genug versucht, drüber hinwegzugehen, wo ich es vielleicht nicht hätte tun sollen. Ist schon auch interessant. Feuerschale.
I think inspiration can be found anywhere.
Oder einfach fucking Lagerfeuer.
It comes from people, it comes from art, it comes from just living life, you know, I just try and turn myself into a satellite dish and just kind of keep an open mind that it can strike in any place, in any form.
Asylum, the title track, a beautiful, beautiful song. That was one of the first 3 when he was out doing the baggage video that started coming together.
Das ist so schön, ne?
The lyrics of that song really capture the human condition for me. The hypocrisy of the human condition, but not in a way that's blamey, in a way that acknowledges the hypocrisy of the human condition. And it's good to acknowledge that we're all hypocrites, because it takes the venom out of when we point the blame at people. Because I think that if you acknowledge it and understand our own hypocrisy, you can start to make really positive change, because you don't always us and them it and turn different viewpoints into the enemy. And it's really important that we do that to build bridges and find solutions going forwards, because we are ultimately inhabiting this place together, and we all are ultimately the same species, and it's good to have common goals, because the more that we separate and divide, the more space it creates for just the dominant ideology must win, which ends a lot of the time in violence, a lot of suffering, and when it doesn't need to. The world is a very abundant place, full of a lot of possibility, if we direct thought correctly and appropriately. And that song really, it's probably, in terms of sentiment, it's my favorite song on the record, for sure, because it really captures that feeling that I've felt my whole life, really.
Warum berührt mich das gerade so? Ich habe da ja auch schon in meiner Reaction zu Asylum drüber gesprochen. So, diese Hypokratie, dieses Hyperpolarisieren, was wir machen, wo es uns so als Menschen hingebracht hat und hinbringt, wo es so die ursprüngliche Basis und der ursprüngliche Nutzen sozusagen, den unser Gehirn eigentlich ursprünglich mal hatte, und auf welches Level wir das quasi getrieben haben, ne? So. Und wie viel das genutzt wird in Medien, Propaganda, gesellschaftliche Strukturen, im Miteinander. Und was passiert, wenn Angst immer mehr damit reingemischt wird? Ja, und ich finde das so schön, das ist eben auch das, was ich mit meinem Kanal immer wieder versuche, verschiedene Perspektiven in die Menschen zu bringen. Also die Welt zu erweitern, indem wir verstehen, dass wir nicht die Wahrheit kennen, dass wir nicht wissen, was bei dem anderen los ist, warum er sich so verhält, so kleidet, was auch immer sagt, die Dinge, die er sagt. Sondern wir können nur die ganze Zeit Vermutungen anstellen. Und umso enger unsere Erfahrung ist und unsere Weltsicht ist, umso weniger Möglichkeiten haben wir, was wir glauben können, was bei dem anderen eigentlich so los ist. Und umso enger ist unsere Sicht auf unser Gegenüber oder auf eine Situation. Und umso schwieriger wird es, weil natürlich macht Einfachheit Dinge auch einfacher, aber sie macht Dinge auch manchmal schwieriger, wenn ihr wisst, was ich meine. Also mehr Möglichkeiten geben mir wiederum die Möglichkeit, mehr zu explorieren, auch in meinem Gegenüber. Und mehr zu verstehen, was in meinem Gegenüber eigentlich passiert. Und die Menschlichkeit wieder zu entdecken in meinem Gegenüber und auch in mir selbst. Weil es gibt am Ende, egal mit wem ich mich unterhalte, umso mehr man in die Tiefe geht und die tieferen Schichten betrachtet, wo kommt diese Person eigentlich her? Was hat diese Person erlebt? Was waren die Gedanken, die Schlüsse daraus, die Überzeugungen über das Leben und über sich selbst, die sie daraus gezogen hat? Was sind die Werte, die ursprünglichen Werte, die ganz, ganz am Anfang eigentlich stehen, während man versucht, über diesen Weg irgendwie diese Werte zu kriegen und Strategien bildet, die vielleicht bei unterschiedlichsten Leuten komplett unterschiedlich aussehen, obwohl wir alle eigentlich nur Anerkennung haben wollen oder Liebe in unterschiedlichen Leveln. Aber wenn ich das erkenne, dass mein Gegenüber, was vermeintlich irgendwie eine ganz andere Sichtweise hat als ich, auch eigentlich nur darum geht, dass er geliebt werden möchte, dann haben wir wieder die menschliche Ebene, wo wir auf dem gleichen Level sind, weil wir wollen alle geliebt werden. Wir haben nur unterschiedliche Erfahrungen gemacht, wie wir das vermeintlich erreichen können. Und alle sind legitim. Und richtig und falsch gibt es dann irgendwann nicht mehr. Und Verurteilung und Ablehnung und Abwertung wird uns nicht weiterbringen. Ja, weiter.
I'm just happy to be on that one. It's a beautiful piece of music. And, you know, Ren is, what a talent for songs like that. Because those are the songs that span generations, you know, and you don't hear them every day.
This is definitely probably the furthest departure from anything.
Das T-Shirt. Hey, fucking gremlins.
Like, just like singing on a ballad.
Yeah.
For like a hot minute, just popping in.
Come on.
Yeah.
He really jumps into places that aren't comfortable for him with quite a lot of ease, and then seems to excel in them.
Yeah, the times change, but it's still the same thing, played out on a constant loop. As the wars wage on the centerfold stage, and the storyline's nothing new. While we draw lines in the sand decided by the chosen few, just for something to believe in, anything will do.
It's just a feeling that I embody all the time, you know, like that one, I don't really have to tap into anything other than, it's probably the purest expression of how I feel on a pretty consistent basis. So it didn't really feel difficult, that one. It already existed.
As we wander through the darkness, we'll die upon this hill, and the only pill to swallow is the one that makes us ill. In this virtual reality, it's hard to see what's real. There's something left worth saving that hasn't yet been killed. Where do we go? We're bound by the chains. When the tide gets low, I wait for the wave. Still I learn to let go with hope for a change. When the world is an asylum, how do you stay safe?
Dieser Abschnitt. Man konnte so gut sehen, ne? Er hat vorher von Embodiment gesprochen. Hier konnte man es sehen. Wie sehr er da drin ist, wie sehr er das fühlt. Wie sehr er das meint, was er sagt. Wie viele Emotionen in ihm durchlaufen, während er das singt. I fucking love Ren, man. Jesus.
Shallow, shallow.
LimeWire, wie geil. Gibt es LimeWire noch? Wie krass. Ich kenn's natürlich nicht.
First full inpatient lock-in, we had 13 tracks set aside. Not all of them were done, not all of them were fully recorded, and not even all of them were fully written.
What videos for, when is End of the World?
End of the World is going to be, I think, Monday, possibly Tuesday.
I feel like the second time we went out there, the mission statement felt a lot more clear. We just locked into this like ADHD hyper-focused.
Das kann manchmal echt krass sein, ne? Dieser Hyperfokus mit dem ADHS. Du bist dann halt so fasziniert und so in diesem Tunnel drin, aber es läuft dann einfach. Es läuft so viel Kreativität, so viel Energie, so viel Aufregung. Es ist diese Dopaminschleife, dieses Dopamin, was dich immer weiter treibt und was immer wieder Belohnung ausschmeißt und ausschüttet und immer wieder so, ja, weiter, 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 mehr. Geil, 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 geil. Noch mehr Ideen, noch mehr Kreativität, noch mehr durchhalten, noch mehr Rush. So, nicht stoppen können. Und plötzlich sind entweder ein paar Stunden oder ein paar Tage rum.
I say we do mason jar and neurodivergent.
Yeah. Every single day we were getting so much done, and it kind of felt like time just like stopped existing, and we were so laser focused on the task at hand.
Wow.
This is very unorthodox.
I don't know just why I'm like this. I've heard people around me say.
And so much got done, and it just kind of felt like a little bit of a blur. Partly because like I was like I smoked a lot of weed.
Something's in the water, at least that's what I blame. I can feel a monster that wants to escape, scratching at my insides. No peace, I'm a freak of nature.
All my thoughts are turning blue. Tell me what's a boy to do. All my yesterdays are fading from the view. And every night I lay awake, waiting for the day to break, just to share another memory with you.
Oh yes, Dr. Michaels, have a seat.
The sound of silence, it sounds so sweet, precipitating violence on these Brighton streets. Lad, are you done?
Not yet, you fuck. Here's an uppercut.
But I'm ducking down, and I chuck his gut, and I grab his coat, and I pick him up.
But we both fell down because I kicked his nuts.
Get off me, you prick!
I can't, I'm stuck. I can't see straight.
No, really, get off, cause fuck, we're about to get hit by this bus!
When I'm in the studio, I'm usually cooking a wide variety of shit. I don't like to just like work in one bag or just make hip hop. Yeah, I'm just like continue to get more cooked and cooked throughout this interview. I'm just kind of, you know, I'm out here in the trees and shit, good weather. It's like I'm getting awfully comfy over here, dude.
I remember swinging like a pendulum by my umbilical cord.
Das war auch crazy.
I think that's an intro right there.
That's I love it. Wie alle da sitzen. Nein, das ist ein Intro. Nein, das ist ein Outro. Auf jeden Fall. Und Ren ist einfach nur da und hat Spaß. Wie cool.
Does everyone think that's an intro? That's the weirdest intro of all time. Way too many people.
I'm ready.
Und es wurde das Intro.
This is my big kazoo unveiling, my debut. I'm pretty excited about it. This is my my instrument contribution to the project right here.
Ja, wie geil, ja. End of the fucking world.
Yeah, we're fucking rolling, baby.
All right, get the fuck.
Ja. Ich hatte nämlich überlegt, weil es kommt ja dann noch so ein Fuck von Webby im Song. Und ich hatte kurz damals überlegt, ob das Fuck im Studio stattfand, weil Webby der Meinung war, dass es nicht gepasst hat oder dass er irgendwas falsch gemacht hat und dass sie es einfach mit drin behalten haben. Aber wenn ich jetzt die Aufnahme sehe, dann wahrscheinlich nicht. Dann haben sie das später dazu gefügt.
Oh, fuck you, man!
It's the end of the world. What are we doing today?
Video, end of the world.
We were filming a lot of music videos as well and planning different videos and just kind of planning how the album was going to be, which is great, like bringing these visions to life as we go. We're just being extremely efficient, basically.
Welcome to the end of the day. See the chemtrail clouds on a summer's day in the sky. Watching as the fires rage and the polar bears drown. Baby, it's okay to be fine. Don't forget to meditate. It's a sick, sick world, but I feel great, so come on. Welcome to the end of the world.
Big news, Inpatient's officially a thing in a way that only a tattoo could be.
Welcome to the end of the day. See the chemtrail clouds on a summer's day in the sky. Watching as the fires rage and the polar bears drown. Baby, it's okay to be fine. Don't forget to meditate. It's a sick, sick world, but I feel great, so come on. Welcome to the end of the world.
Ja. Ich finde das cool. Vögel füttern.
Doing a little yard work, you know? Sometimes when you're writing a song, you gotta step away from it for a second and chainsaw some shit! It appears that's that. Song, look at my shoes, my leg, a song called Me and My Monster. We're almost done with this album. 2 of 3 video shot. We're getting there. Fucking getting there, buddy. Getting through this tree.
My voice might be a bit too trash for it today, but.
Ooh, what was that? Oh, those are your rings and shit.
Ooh, yeah. Ooh, oh,
Yeah. Madhouse, baby. Huch. Hängt mein
I
Internet
thought
ein
it would be
bisschen.
foolish to not get creative and, you know, get at least a couple more songs. Down the Road is my favorite song on the entire project.
Er macht das auch so.
It was just a crazy experience. Me and Kai started in the morning, kind of just started noodling around and recording, not even thinking about anything. We came up with this dope little prog.
Oh, I'm excited to hear it. I've forgotten what it sounds like, I just know it sounds good.
And then Dave Zombie, my guy, was over at the house and we were showing him everything, and that beat really resonated with him. And he's the one who kind of like had this idea of like the classic tale of selling your soul at the crossroads.
Yeah, so the devil led the rebellion against God, and then God defeated them and cast them down. But if you remember, Lucifer was the morning star. He was the god of music. He was the god of music. He was the most beautiful angel.
Once he said that, I took everything that I had been writing and just threw it in the fucking trash, started over. That went on to be the wildest session
Oh, like, I just poured twisted tea on my head. How did I do that?
It was like nothing I've ever fully experienced. You feel like you're tapped into something else that's like transmitting you this data.
And I saw my stomach turn and I turned and I tried to find the words and concerned and the feeling disconcerting. It's strange, but I felt this weird yearning, a craving for something that was urging me over. And then to start conversing, I reached out my hand, he took it during. He leaned in and said something disturbing.
Being able to play the two archetypes in that story was really cool, and having his take on being the salesman, the Lucifer character at the crossroads, and there was a lot of synergy in the room and a lot of like excitement in the room when we wrote that, and it just came together so well.
My ideas were too big and he was jealous of me. That's why he kicked me out.
The devil
Like, he
is
was
jealous of you.
Yeah.
Being like God's new favorite, so he wants to damn you.
Yeah.
Because he wants to give you like some type of bullshit deal to damn your soul because he's jealous of you.
Favorite, and then what? He was
So
the favorite.
he was yeah, but then maybe like your whole narrative can be like, oh, but he was jealous of me. That's why he needed me gone because my ideas were too big and they were too good. And
Right.
he started to get
Correct. So
threatening.
Morning Sun is a fire one though.
the Morning Sun.
I was the favourite back where I'm from.
I was God's something. I was the morning sun. And he ended with I was the morning sun.
Yeah.
And then something about like, I got cast down, you know. Still out, like, cause I was the favorite. Like, back where I'm from.
Yeah. I was the favorite.
Morning sun.
That's fire.
Mm-hmm.
We needed a little Janis Joplin moment. Let's rip it up, Webb. Rip them vocal cords to motherfucking shreds.
I still remember back where I was from.
God.
See, I was the favorite, the morning sun. See, I had ideas, but they said they're too grand. So they casted me out without reason to doubt. Now there's blood on my hands.
God.
That's my fucking God.
Auch hier, ne? Auch bei Webby zu sehen, wie er dann voll reingeht. Ich fand's ganz schön. Man kann so ein bisschen diese Unterschiede irgendwie sehen, ne? Wenn er diese Rap-Flows vorher, wenn man die gesehen hat, na, ich meine, er guckt jetzt hier auch auf sein Handy, aber das ist eher ruhiger und ne, er liest es dann so ab und da passiert jetzt nicht so viel in seinem Körper. Aber wenn er hier jetzt so in dieses Singen quasi reingeht, ist es nochmal anders. Dann ist es ein bisschen wie bei Ren, ne? Dieses totale Embodiment, dieses Reinspüren und total Passion, Baby.
I'ma chain you to the ground, I'll enslave you, look around, ain't nobody coming here to save you, I'ma take you way down. So I stood frozen at the crossroads of time, took hold of his paper, and I leant down to sign.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Dude, the vulnerability in your voice, like, you know what I mean? It's like pushed to the fucking breaking point. It's so good for that line, especially. Oh, Today we'll be laying to rest two good fish. The end of a long plague in the Webby Koi Pond. We lost a lot of good fish this summer, but two were strong enough to make it much further than the others. Tonight we'll be honoring those two fish. First we have Maximus. He started a small fish in the small pond. Made it to the big pond, flourished. Where his brothers Decimus and Meridius did not make it, Maximus survived. We now send Maximus to the greatest pond of all, heaven. Next, he went by the name of Bruno. He fought for a really long time. I
still don't quite understand how he survived as long as he did, but he did, because he was tough. And now, Bruno swims away.
Ren. Mm.
It's really hot in this blazer, man.
Podcast.
Raise a toast as the curtains close and the sunset fades to black. So the story goes, we all walk with ghosts, no one-way tickets back. The casualties of our memories that slip right through the cracks. All the inside jokes and the times we spoke will stay frozen in the past. You gotta hold on to the little things, but you gotta let go just a little bit. I guess we'll never know what tomorrow brings, but just know you're not alone in the thick of it. I know it feels cold when the casket's closed, stories untold on a headstone. For those who grow old, it'll fly by in the blink of an eye. We'll have a hell of a time. Know that we'll have the time of our lives. So remember us and smile. All of the souls heading back home down a one-way road. So it goes until the casket's closed.
Sounds great. What do you guys think? Feeling wise? You like it?
I love it.
I think because I've just listened to it over and over again, I've kind of like killed the feeling of it for myself. Maybe I don't know. At least, well, I just want to know that it's like doing the thing that it did to me the first time we fucking wrote it. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Connor.
Ich kenne das auch, diese Momente, wo man so Songs hat. Und das ist auch so ein ADHS-Ding, was manchmal durchkommt, ne? Wenn man was geil findet, dann hat man das auf Dauer-Repeat. Wenn ich einen neuen Song für mich entdeckt habe, dann läuft der halt am Stück auf. Nur dieser Song den ganzen Tag, vielleicht noch 2, 3 Tage. So. Und wenn es sich aber um eine bestimmte Art von Message handelt, dann geht die irgendwann darin so ein bisschen, die Berührung, die Tiefe, die das hatte, geht so ein bisschen verloren. Deswegen gibt es so ein paar Songs, die ich zwar auf der Playlist habe, die ich mir aber nur ganz bewusst anhöre und die ich nicht einfach im Hintergrund laufen lasse, um auch diese Message nicht zu verlieren. So. Ja.
It's my time, cuz.
It's your time to shine, dude.
Jesus, brother. Yeah, well,
Connor.
Fucking sleep, bro.
Ren's Manager.
I'm glad it's now, not fucking like 1 a.m. cuz.
Ich habe Rens Manager gelesen und ich musste sofort daran denken, ja, und der Prison Guard, der ihn verprügelt hat, war für mich die eindrücklichste Rolle, die er je übernommen hat. Und den Spaß, den er da quasi in den Behind the Scenes hatte.
So remember us and smile.
Yeah, cool.
That's it.
And we just got to belt that.
Oh yeah.
Belt it out. We'll have a hell of a time.
Hold up, I fucking
We'll have a hell of a time. Know that we'll have the time of our lives. So remember us and smile.
I was missing you in that one, Kai. Come on. Come on.
Until the cat gets closed, we'll have a hell of a time. Know that we'll have the time of our lives. So remember us and smile.
You getting in this, JP, or what?
Let's do it here.
Come on.
We'll have a hell of a time. Know that we'll have the time of our lives.
So remember us and smile.
Webby is such a fucking interesting artist, and I've spoken to him a lot, and I know that a lot of where he comes from is from such a place of like considerate care and so much like attention to detail in the care. When he thinks that something that I've done is maybe a little bit like that I could try a bit harder, maybe a little bit lazy in a lyric, he'll just pull me up on it, and it really inspired me to go a little bit further as well. And even if it's going to take double the amount of time, he will stay there until he really gets it right. And I've got a lot of love for that man, and he's so fucking talented, bro. And I really don't say that lightly, mate. Really don't say that lightly. I think this collaboration for a lot of people was really unexpected. I think because of the perceived difference in political opinions and stuff like that, particularly. I think that I really wanted to show an example, right, of something that I really stand on, is that we need to stop alienating and making us versus them and the other and this because of a difference in opinion on certain things. It's just really important that we find threads of commonality and avoid this world turning into a fucking madhouse, complete madhouse. And yeah, I hope that when people listen to this album, that's what they feel. They feel unity, they feel togetherness, and they feel something that's created just for the love of music and for the sake of that, for the sake of music, man.
Did we do caskets today?
Yeah.
Yeah, we spent fucking ages as well. Quite a long time.
Man, what a day.
What makes a person neurodivergent? Sick for certain. You see that glitch in the algorithm, that's me. Don't fit in the crowd, I lift the boundary. Going sick, let it out and flip. They found me with the misfits round, so bitch, allow me to show 'em what I came to do. Shut the blinds and keep the noise down, cause it's about time to let them all into a madman's mind. Not well, but hell, I feel fine. Go, off script. Whoa, got twisted. Whoa, top lip split, explode. Whoa, misfit, don't fit. What makes a person neurodivergent? Sick for certain.
So schön zu sehen.
Neurodivergent.
JP. What do you got going on?
I need my last bonger for the night.
Dude, please, dude. I need to take also a last bonger with you, and I need to match you.
Yeah, we did.
Where's the zong, or what's it called?
The zob. You want to hit the zob?
Yeah, where's the zob? Trying to take a last bonger, make a big deal out of it, and not have it be that?
Come on, man.
What?
He's getting the zob.
Ah, fuck.
Was läuft da gerade im Hintergrund für Musik? War das auf dem Album drauf?
What's going on, bro?
Oh no!
Why would you do that?
Oh my god.
No! Oh shit.
Hey!
That was fucking.
What a stint!
It's been real, man. Bro, it's been a fucking mad session.
Yeah, bro.
It's been fucking crazy,
You're a
brother.
fucking animal, dude.
Bro, yeah, this has been a
Safe
mad few
travels
weeks.
home, bro.
Yeah,
This shit
appreciate
is-
it.
Yeah, we'll connect when you get back. and
Surely,
shit.
man, surely.
That we did.
What's that?
my god, he's back.
Back.
He's back.
To you, the listener, I hope you enjoyed what we did here. These
Oh, yeah.
guys and me, we just killed this album. It's incredible. You know, and I don't feel bad saying that. It is objectively or subjectively, the best album I've heard in a decade, easily. Yeah, I'll go on record. This is the best album of the decade. Period. Prove me wrong.
I'm gonna take a bong rip. I got fucking dogs barking, and we'll be out of here. Asylum out now, ladies and gentlemen. Peace.
Peace.
Inpatient asylum. I'm out of here.
Wow, pretty
Okay.
beautiful, isn't it? I'm going to be completely honest with you, Webb. I can't see very much right now. I told you not to look at it. I just couldn't resist myself.
Wessen Stimme ist das denn? Das ist nicht Ren, oder? Also das ist Webbys Stimme, aber wer spricht Ren? What the fuck?
I told you not to look at it. I just couldn't resist myself. Wait, what's happening?
Stay calm, boy. My thoughts are burning like the napalm. I think I need to get away from. Think I wanna know you better leave together. Grab your sweater, let's connect the dots.
Sind das alles Sachen, die Ideen waren, die es aber nicht aufs Album geschafft haben? Oder kommt da noch mehr? Oder wurden die einfach nur aussortiert und werden jetzt hier gezeigt?
Sure, you wanna go out there and move?
Romain.
I think it's pretty much good to go.
I'm happy with it.
Romain ist doch vom Big Push.
Uh-oh, Webb. I think we might be in purgatory again.
Diese Stimme, was?
I don't know about that. So what do we do now, Webb? I'm sure something will pop up. See? I told you. Oh, no, Webb. I wouldn't just jump right in every hole you see. Don't be such a pussy. Sick. Bye!
What? Okay, ich glaube, das war's. Jesus Christ. Okay, das war jetzt ein verdammt langes Video. Mit meinem Gequatsche noch viel länger. Aber ich hatte Bock. Und here we go. Ich glaube, ich werde es gar nicht so sehr zusammenschneiden. Ich glaube nur eine Sache, weil zwischendurch mein Telefon geklingelt hat. Das werde ich rausschneiden. Aber ansonsten werde ich das so ziemlich so lassen. Es war eine Freude, die beiden bei der Arbeit zu sehen. Oder das gesamte Team bei der Arbeit zu sehen. Auch mit JP, aber auch mit Connor, mit Kai, mit allen, die dazugehörten. Auch wie Down the Road nochmal entstanden ist und diesen Kick bekommen hat durch den Kumpel von Webby, der dazu gekommen ist und dieses Crossroads-Ding mit reingebracht hat. Sehr, sehr cool. Und auch wie die Freundin von Webby das initiiert hat mit, ey, Ren hat deinen Song kommentiert, nimm Kontakt auf, du musst mit dem was machen. Das ist schon ziemlich cool. Genau. Also, ich lasse es so stehen. Wenn euch das Video gefallen hat, wenn ihr Bock habt, meine weitere Reise mit Ren zu machen und vielleicht auch mit Chris Webby, Stück für Stück, dann abonniert den Kanal, liked dieses Video, aktiviert die Glocke und natürlich liked den Kanal, subscribe to Ren, to Chris Webby, mein Güte, mein Gehirn funktioniert nicht mehr so, und liked das ganze Album, die ganzen Songs. Support, support, support. Love, love, love. Genau. So, und jetzt belassen wir es dabei. Ich wünsche euch einen wundervollen restlichen Tag, Abend, Nacht, was auch immer. Bis dann.